Good evening and welcome into another episode of Star V Sundays alongside Joe Bulovas. I'm Billy Derrick as we come to you live from the south end zone of First Bank Stadium. We found a new location. We've scurried over to the probably the nicest suite.
Yeah,
And I mean, you have the
it's not too shabby. I mean,
yeah,
we've got. I guess we got to the point where we got the clearance to step up our game from. We were down the north end zone
hmm
first few weeks. Then we did the team room. So now we've gradually found our way
yeah.
to the nicest place in town,
It's not
which
too
is the
bad.
south end zone of Vanderbilt Stadium. So it's really, those of you guys who haven't been here up this way, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, it's my first time actually today
hmm
looking around. It's quite impressive.
Yeah, it's pretty impressive. I walked into the one like right behind the field goal here to us. It's all the same, not the same. I mean, it's all the same building, but
Yeah.
walk through doors, get to the other side, and it's really impressive. The same kind of bar setup, and they have a huge video board with the Vanderbilt game on and some other TVs and all you can eat buffet with all kinds of different food and drinks. And then there's this the gold layout suite. You probably can't see it very well behind us, but that's the other one. That's super nice as well. It's got kind of custom boxes for fans, but this one's pretty good looking. It's not too bad.
Yeah, you've got a lot of stuff going on here. You've got basically restaurant style and bar style layouts in here.
hmm
It's gorgeous. They did a phenomenal job with this.
Yeah. So we try to do our best. I know it's gotten a little dark behind us, but about an hour ago it looked really nice. So maybe
Yeah, we'll have to get it a little bit earlier in the day for
yeah.
catch some catch the golden hour.
Oh yeah. No, we need it 5 o'clock. We may shoot for 5 o'clock next week, but either way, we got a lot to get into. Vanderbilt obviously knocking off LSU yesterday. Not knocking off. That sounds like an upset. They got it done 31-24
Yeah.
right here at First Bank Stadium. We'll dive into all that. We'll get to Joe's theme of the week as well a little bit later with Bulovas Wealth Management of Raymond James. And again, that's the reason we're here today, and we're here doing this podcast each and every week. And again, just want to let you guys know if you want more info, log on to their website, raymondjames.com/Bulovas Wealth Management, or give Joe a call, 615-645-6742. Obviously, all of our lives are busy, especially right now. Everyone at Raymond James, especially Joe, believes that's worth celebrating, though, because financial planning isn't just about numbers and figures. It's about creating the life that you envision. So whether you're building a future or preparing for retirement, let Joe guide you each step of the way, all while following a plan that's uniquely yours. And again, to learn more, raymondjames.com/Bulovas Wealth Management. Joe, we got a lot to get into.
We got a lot of great things to get into.
We do, and it just
it beats the brakes off of Alabama 2 weeks ago.
It really does. What a difference a couple of weeks makes for this team. And I want to kind of go through a few notes. I mean, history is being made each week. I feel like obviously not a couple weeks ago in Tuscaloosa, but first win over LSU since 1990, and they snapped a 10-game losing streak to the Tigers. That's a little deceiving.
I don't remember Vandy really ever playing
because you didn't play them in your two years here.
No, I didn't.
And it's really a game where they play every 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I was about to say it's like every 3 or 4 from what I remember.
Yeah,
I think the last time we played LSU was what, 2019.
2019, it was Joe Burrow. They put up almost 70 points, and then the COVID year too, 2020, where they had the cardboard cutouts, of the fans in the stands, and that wasn't pretty, of course. But first 6-1 start since 1950, which is incredible. Multiple wins over AP ranked top 15 teams for the first time ever in a single season. And Joe, this game, so interesting the way it started, right? Because LSU kind of got going a little bit offensively, but Vanderbilt, they bended, but they didn't break. And Barrion Brown got going a little bit there with some catches. But before we dive into, because I kind of want to run through the game a little bit, went back and watched it and took some notes, and kind of want to get your perspective on it too. But after watching that game, you were here yesterday. There was so much that happened in my mind. Like there were a lot of key moments, a lot of big plays. The 2 4th-down conversions were huge. And the defensive stops, the last 2 stops there with under 6-7 minutes left in the game. The defense stood tall. A lot of unsung heroes. I mean, there's a lot to get to after yesterday.
Man, I'm not gonna say I've got a crystal ball, but I have a crystal ball in saying general things that turn out to be true.
Yeah,
and that's there's going to be somewhere between 3 to 5, 6 plays that are going to determine the outcome of the game. And, the LSU Vandy game yesterday, that was certainly evident of that.
Yeah.
Vandy made just a few more plays here and there, did a few more things the right way to get that result. That was a dogfight.
Mm-hmm.
That was a dogfight. LSU has athletes everywhere, but so does Vandy, and Vandy made a few more plays. They got a few more stops, especially on defense, man. That's what stood out to me is, hey, we gave up some pretty big plays, but we didn't break. We didn't let that be our Achilles heel for the game, and we ended up being able to win. Now, if we didn't hunker down, things could have gone very differently because LSU has the opportunity and the guys to strike in the blink of an eye. But I mean, I can't be more pleased with the way that these guys battled. You got Cole Spence having a phenomenal game.
He played so well.
Great young man.
I don't think he dropped a single opportunity.
He came in to Vandy as a freshman, and he was like 18 or 17. He was a big frame guy, but he was so skinny. And now you look at him now, and you think he's going to either go model for GQ or he's going to be in WrestleMania down the road.
No, he has really developed. By the way, not to interrupt you, Joe, but we did have somebody say the sound was very low. I just made an adjustment. Let us know how the sound is, because we want it to sound good, of course. But I think we're connected and everything. It was just I had to flip a knob real quick. So let me know in the chat if it sounds good, because we don't want you guys to not be able to hear us. But you're right about Cole Spence. And I forgot about that with him, Joe. And okay, sounds good. You're right about him. He was always tall, and he really developed into his body and made some huge grabs. That first catch he had, Clark after the game, so that was an NFL level catch. I mean, for him to stretch out, and he had the other one late where he had to dive for it and set up a 3rd and 6. I can't remember if they converted that or not there, but
him and Eli put on a clinic for
they did
like how to play the tight end position, and getting in space and catching balls. So they did a phenomenal job. It took everybody, but Cole. I played with Cole, and he's a great young man. He's done things the right way from the day he got on campus, and he's a true Vanderbilt guy. Does things the right way. Always puts the team first, and it's so encouraging, and it's fun to see guys like Cole have success. And he's battled through injuries, but he's done a phenomenal job of staying true to himself in the process and playing fearlessly. So hats off to him. Had a great game. I'm super happy for him.
Yeah, and along those lines, he's primarily, and Clark was laughing about this too because he got a question about it, and it is a fair question. Typically Cole is a big time blocker, and
well, he may not be as much of a blocker now.
Well, but they have tried,
more.
And look, they have tried to get him the ball. It feels like typically a few times a game. And they tried it in some spots last year. But that can be tough, Joe. I asked him about that yesterday. I was like, hey, it feels like you're wide open almost every time you catch a ball. and that can be tough for a tight end because, if you don't make this catch, you're not going to have that 20, 25-yard gain. Right. But he said he's been able to lock in and make those catches. And that's key. And Clark mentioned that they're going to need him to continue to step up. And Clark's excited to see what kind of improvements he continues to make, because you got to think he developed a bunch of confidence yesterday too from that. And it probably helps playing with Eli. Yeah. So really impressed with
he's got such a great room to learn from. The coaches do a phenomenal job of developing players, but when you have a guy like Eli over you, you got a guy that you can learn from every single minute of practice in meetings, whatever it looks like,
on the field, off the field.
You have a stand-up guy that you can learn from who's going to play at the next level and has done things really, really nicely for himself. So I think he's a great mentor to have in that tight end room.
Right, and the tight ends are really important to the running game. Obviously, Vandy outrushed LSU 242 to 100 and had the ball for 36 minutes compared to LSU's 23.
Yeah,
you're going to win a lot of games if you're Vanderbilt when you win the time of possession battle like that. You can win it 30 to 27, but that's a difference-making time of possession margin. And I think that was a big reason they won, Joe. Pavia struck the Heisman pose after his third quarter touchdown. His Heisman odds jumped up to 1,400 plus 1,400 according to FanDuel. And by the way, if you want to place a bet on that, head on over to FanDuel and do that. And we'll talk a little bit about where FanDuel has Vandy in terms of being a favorite here next Saturday against Missouri. But you've got Simpson at Alabama, who was incredible again yesterday.
Yeah, he's playing really
really
great football right now.
Yeah. And then Fernando Mendoza at Indiana. Obviously, what they did to Oregon, Julian Sand at Ohio State, Marcel Reed, and Gunnar Stockton. I look at those last two guys, Marcel Reed and Gunnar Stockton. Marcel's really talented, Gunnar obviously as well. But I'm lumping Diego with Ty Simpson and Mendoza and
I think by the time we get to the actual voting and at the end of the season, I think it's going to be pretty close.
Yeah.
Whoever's at the top is I think Diego's in that conversation. He deserves to be in that conversation. I really do think he's the best player in college football.
Clark said the same thing yesterday.
The way that he takes over games, and I know Coach said this a little bit, there's only a handful of players that can do that, and he's certainly one of them.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see how he can't be in that top 3 or 4 conversation, especially because, and I'll just kind of say this broadly, but to be able to put a team on your back and lead them the way that he has with the way like where we started from several years ago to now, that speaks volumes for the type of player and leader he is. And so I think that should play a factor in voting as well, because he's elevated the program in such a way. But Coach Lee's at the helm of that. He's done a phenomenal job of building this program and his vision and the way that it's supposed to be done. So it's a group effort.
Yeah. Well, and along the lines of that, Vandy's playoff chances, according to ESPN's playoff predictor, whether this matters a whole lot or not, 45%.
45%.
Yep. And I think if Vanderbilt, the ESPN showed this graphic.
I'll tell you what, it'll be 100% if they just win every game.
Yeah. Win out.
If you win out,
you're in.
I think
even if you win one, I think you're in. If you go 10-2, you're in. Would you agree with that?
Team,
as an SEC,
I don't see how,
especially this year.
I don't see how you're not in. Even if you lose 2 games.
Yeah,
I think regular season as an SEC team, because hell, you play anybody in the SEC and you only drop 2, you've won against quality ranked opponents.
And I would argue that there's going to be an SEC team that's 9-3 that gets in. I could be wrong.
I think we were talking about that the other day. I think that's possible too.
Yeah, just
because last year you had those 3 teams on the bubble: Ole Miss, Bama, and South Carolina, that were on the bubble of getting in the playoff. But now I don't see how you don't.
No, and I mean Alabama still has to play. They got to play LSU, and they're still. This is the meat of the SEC schedule right here.
And anybody can beat anybody.
Look at Auburn.
Everybody's got athletes; they can beat anybody. Any given Saturday, it doesn't matter whose stadium you're walking in to play. I think you could see LSU beat several teams that they probably count them out against now, given the way the season their season has been going. But you never know. Like, remember South Carolina last year went on an absolute tear.
Yeah,
they
won like 4 or 5 in a row.
They went on a tear the last stretch of the season.
There's going to be a couple teams that do that.
Right, there always is. Because they stay composed, they do things the right way. They're committed to their process, and so
could be LSU. I mean, who knows?
It could be LSU. It could be any of the SEC teams.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show you, everything is still in playing cards.
Yeah.
Man.
And Vandy's one of those teams.
Absolutely.
Vandy is in the mix. They are in the hunt at 6-1 and 2-1 in the SEC.
Number 10 in the country.
And ranked number 10 in the AP poll, highest ranking since 1947, which. Clark has been joking about this. What were they doing in 1947 and then in the 30s for, when they put up 70 against Tennessee? I wonder what they were running offensively.
Yeah.
But
I don't think they were throwing the ball too much.
No, I don't think there was much of an air raid attack there. But Joe, I say most importantly, College Game Day is coming back.
I know that's going to be a fantastic atmosphere.
I mean,
First Bank.
They're going to be, if I'm not mistaken, on the white lawn like they were in 2008.
Yeah.
And that's right in the middle of campus, right?
Yeah, it's
like you can't.
Is
like if you're a fan going to a game, most people don't walk over there. Like,
no,
try to describe where it is. It might be tough, but
that's what I was trying to say. Is like, for those of you,
anybody that went in 08 probably remembers.
You would probably remember that was a pretty big event, but the Wyatt Lawn, that's over in the Peabody College. That's a significant ways away from the stadium.
Yeah.
It's past the hospital. So if you're over here at the stadium like we are, you know where the hospital is right there. You can kind of see it even. It's even past that.
Yeah.
So it's down a ways. It's probably about a mile and a half from the stadium.
It's where they had the volleyball game, right?
Yes.
The outdoor.
That's when they had the volleyball game. It's right
It's a
across.
good spot. It's like kind of the campus lawn.
That's the only place you can really do it.
Yeah.
And I mean, in a perfect scenario, maybe, next year when game day comes back, we need to do something with the medical lot. Like if there was a way.
Oh, you're talking the tailgate lot.
Yes, the huge tailgate lot. If we set up game day over there, right next to the stadium,
yeah,
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. Well, it hurts because you are so landlocked, and a lot of like Tuscaloosa, is night and day different than this setup.
Funny
but
what I was tapping your leg for is because I mean they don't. Game day has had the opportunity to come to Vandy and they haven't.
Yeah.
So like, for whatever reason that they give, is a great opportunity for Vanderbilt fans and the team.
I know SEC Nation has a couple times, and I think they've been in Wyatt Lawn as well.
Yeah.
But this is going to be a bigger crowd than 2008.
Yeah.
Because number one,
because it's also going to be all black and gold.
Well, exactly. I was telling somebody that earlier today.
It's Missouri. They're black and gold as well. I mean, different.
I think Missouri fans are going to try to be strategic and wear the bright yellow.
Yeah.
So that. Yeah. But even still, you're going to have some wearing black.
Do they call it gold or do they call it yellow? Or do they call it maybe a maize?
That's a good question.
I want to say it's gold, but
probably gold.
LSU and Missouri, you got the same yellow.
Yeah.
It's not even sparkly like ours.
Yeah. The gold now has changed. Like when you were here.
Oh yeah, no, I remember for whatever it is. I felt like we were changing, like our color of gold was changing.
It was it was a darker shade of gold. I think that did not really stand out.
No, it
much. This one is brighter.
Yeah.
But if you go back, Joe, to the 70s and 80s, Vanderbilt had almost a yellow. Yellowish shade of gold as their color, and you go back and watch some games on TV. They had the kind of the yellow looking pom poms everywhere. So it's changed, but Missouri, like I was kind of getting
the
at,
technology for pom poms is drastically different now. So that's probably has something to do with it.
That's what we're talking about here.
Yeah.
But no, what I was getting at, I think it helps Vanderbilt that it's another team with black and gold color. So I think optically on TV for the game. It won't look as bad maybe if LSU or Alabama or Tennessee were in town.
Sure.
But for game day as well, I think it's going to be a crazy crowd because Vandy is 6-1.
Right. What's Mizzou's record?
Mizzou is 6-1 as well.
Okay.
And
they're a darn good team.
They're a good team.
They're always competitive in every game that they play. They almost beat Bama the other day.
Yep.
They play really sound football.
Yeah.
And so Vandy's going to have to bring their A game, but what was your take on Mizzou so far?
Mizzou, really good running game. Ahmad Hardy's one of the best running backs in the country. And Bo Pribula.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah.
Bo Pribula, of course, came from Penn State. There were some Penn State people saying, man, we got rid of Bo and look at Drew Aller and, what he's struggling with. And now Franklin's gone. And, they're a physical team. These are two very similar teams, the way they're set up.
Yeah,
Missouri,
they
control the clock. Missouri is very compact, like Vandy is. They want to make it a wrestling match, and Vandy's played Missouri close under Clark.
Yeah.
You go back last year, should have won the game. That's the game Brock hit a 57-yarder, and unfortunately missed the one at the end. But he bounced back from that, and I think this could be a Brock Taylor game where it's low scoring defensive battle because both teams want to run the ball.
Yeah,
and so I think
I thought that it was going to come down to Brock yesterday.
I thought it was too.
It was such a tight game, back and forth, and we obviously were able to get up on them at the end.
Yeah,
but that I could totally see that happening. I also see the defense is stepping up and having to play the field position game a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So
and
that's when Nick Harper comes in, comes into play. He did a nice job yesterday. Of flipping the field and he had one that bounced on the 2-yard line, rolled in for a touchback. So that was a little frustrating that we didn't have guys down there for that. But coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? But field position is going to play a huge factor in this because both teams can run the ball. Both teams do it creatively, so it's not mundane.
And both quarterbacks run the ball too.
And both quarterbacks run the ball well. They throw it well, and they've got athletes on the perimeter.
Yeah.
So
this could be an NFL style, like 20-17, 24-20.
I don't see it being a shootout.
No, both teams probably don't want that either.
No. I don't see it being like a 45-47 type game. For each team. No. Like I would say it might be under 30.
I could see that. Although I thought yesterday's was going to be low scoring too, and the overhit, and I think at halftime you knew it was going to be somewhat higher scoring. They settled down in the second half, but we'll get more into that Missouri game a little bit later. We do have some comments, and again, keep the comments coming, keep the questions coming. If you got questions for Joe, of course, former kicker here, played under Clark first couple of years of the Clark Lee tenure. So fire away any questions for him. Obviously, he's dialed in. He's locked into he was here yesterday. Joe, and seeing a lot. I saw ran into Bresnahan yesterday. I think Gavin Schoenwald.
We got all the guys here, man. Yeah. We make sure we get everybody back.
I think Gavin was here yesterday too. Yep. So, the alums are coming back, and Joe's one of them that cares a lot. So fire away any comments or questions you got. Clay says, anchor down. Mitch says, glad y'all are here. Much appreciated. We do have some sound corrections, so thank you for that. Anchor Down says, amazing location selection for tonight's podcast.
Yeah.
Courtesy of Joe.
Well, it takes one to know one, right? I'm not cool enough to have my own, plated badge to get me in all access 24/7. So I don't know who I guess I'd have to talk to Coach Lee about that, but I doubt that kind of that gift would be extended to me. I'm just an average Joe now, man.
That's the way to go. But Midge says ESPN had him at 45-1. Pavia for the Heisman after the game, 16-1. So pretty drastic.
I love the Heisman post. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I didn't notice it immediately, and then I kind of saw it go viral on Twitter.
He had a hell of a game, man. He played his tail off.
He did. He really did, and that kind of leads us into this game, Joe, and we'll get to some more notes. But the way it started, again, like I said, and again, Vandy won the toss and deferred. Have they lost a toss this year?
Well, it's all on how you frame it. No matter what result of the coin toss is, you can come back saying, "Oh, I called this."
Well,
or I called that. Yeah.
I guess true, but I feel like, Vandy won it, and I feel like they've won every toss. And it's probably not true. And if somebody knows in the comments, I feel like they're 6-1 on the season. They might be 6-1 on coin tosses too.
I know Coach Lee typically likes to defer to the second half. Yeah. And so anytime you can get that, you kind of control a little bit of the flow of the game of how the ball is going to jump at least into your hands at halftime, starting the second half. Great. But if we keep winning the coin tosses, it's panned out all right for us.
Yeah,
so far.
We had a great opening kickoff return from Trey Richardson, which helped
again
with
the field position, man. Huge in this game.
Yeah, I did think Garrett Nussmeier played his butt off.
That guy competed his tail off.
Yeah,
he made some plays happen, and he threw a lot of balls off his back foot. That I was like, oh, that's gonna be picked, and then it was right in stride on the numbers to the receiver. I'm like,
yep,
I got to tip the cap to you, man. You're playing your tail off. You're getting abused. He was getting shots.
Yeah,
his offensive line probably picked him up off the ground more than they did blocking our guys.
Well, and that was part of the plan for not that this is the SEC, right? And when a quarterback is hampered, I guess they injured Lenore Sellers. That's not the goal going in.
No, it's never the goal to hurt a player, but if you can affect his rhythm, absolutely,
right.
That's a goal.
Yeah.
For an opposing quarterback is affect his rhythm.
And for LSU's left tackle, Tyree Adams goes down after the game. Corday Sidner, I was kind of nudging at him to say, "Hey, get him to," but they knew that and attacked it. Yeah. So when you're playing the SEC, the margins are so small. If somebody's banged up, you're gonna attack them, and
there's no more prominent way of that happening on football fields when a corner gets hurt.
Yeah.
And the offense will just start attacking.
Oh, they smell blood in the water.
There's blood in the water. Go attack.
Yep.
So,
Vandy's D-line, Joe, came to play, and they wore down.
A phenomenal job.
Yeah, they wore down that LSU offensive line. Like I said, with Adams going down, there was a play with Zaylen Wood where he just bull rushed Chester, the defensive lineman, and for the sack, and Nussmeier just kind of fell down. I thought, that played a big role in the game. I thought Tim Beck was in his bag the entire game, and you saw that. And
that was some phenomenal play calling.
Yeah, the offensive plan was crisp. It was executed. They didn't turn the ball over.
No. I was really pleased with that.
Yeah.
Because we've seen that when Vandy is rocking and rolling on all cylinders, coming out swinging, as long as we don't turn the ball over, we've been in every single game.
Yep.
Every single game.
Yep.
And I think this is a great opportunity for them to kind of build on this.
Yeah.
As far as like, hey, this is our blueprint. This is who we are as a team from the offensive perspective. Let's carry this into the Missouri game. That's going to be a test. It's going to be a huge test.
Yeah.
Because they're going to test us at every position. But yeah, no, I was really impressed with their offense.
Yeah. It all started with that first drive. I thought it was clinical. 9 plays, took nearly 6 minutes off the clock. You had the Pavia sneak there. And the LSU run game got going too, Joe, a little bit.
I thought they were going to stick to it more than they did.
Yeah.
They abandoned it at times, and I think it cost them.
Yeah. I mean, Harlem Berry, he's a 5-star kid. I think he's a freshman. He had a couple of 9, 10, 11-yard runs.
Yeah.
And then you saw the one late, and I'm going to get to this a little bit later, where they break one. I think it was Durham, and Jordan Matthews, not come out of nowhere, but he showed some elite speed.
He closed on him, yeah.
Saved a touchdown.
Yeah.
And so, but I did think I'm with
Jordan's
you.
A great player.
Yeah.
It's funny, I shot him a text after the game because he's actually from Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I noticed that.
So he's from Baton Rouge.
He wanted to play well yesterday.
Yeah, so he's from my area too, and he went to Tennessee and then he transferred here. So I knew that game meant a good bit to him.
Yeah,
because he's playing, he's getting some action.
I love those hometown games.
He probably knew a few guys on the team. I
had to
ask him that, but I'm sure he did.
Yeah, he played really well. He played physical too.
Yeah, and he's another new face that's fit in really nicely with his defense. Plays his tail off, plays with his hair on fire. He's made a lot of plays happen, and like that kind of play of chasing a guy down, saving a touchdown at the end of the game, or I mean, you can't say enough about that kid's fight to make that happen and give us another fighting chance when everybody in the stands looking at he's probably going to score, and then he doesn't, and we stop him. It's a huge momentum changer, and it gives your team so much more belief. And like what Diego was saying in the pregame with the guys on game day, he said it all starts with belief.
Yeah,
you want to keep adding fuel to that fire. You give me plays like Jordan Matthews.
You know what that play is a perfect example of from Jordan Matthews?
Football.
Well, it is, but going a little bit deeper, defending every blade of grass. And he said that after the game. We talked to him. That's every blade. That's 2 more yards, for them to have to score. And you can look at that and be bogged down after he has a 62-yard or 50-yard run, whatever it is.
Yeah.
But no, they said, hey, great job, Jordan. Let's bounce back here and force a field goal. LSU, after that, what did they have? Did they have a false start? They scored a touchdown, but it was I think one of their offensive linemen jumped, and they got bogged down, and they could not respond after a couple of brutal penalties that they had. And
we were the cleaner team.
Yeah,
we kept ourselves away from penalties. LSU is a pretty chippy bunch.
They
were chirping. They were pushing guys around.
There were a couple of plays that probably should have been called and
after the whistle a little bit, but our guys didn't get back at them or anything, which I was impressed with. It takes a lot of maturity to keep your composure in those situations, because depending on what those guys are saying down there, it ain't the nicest.
Yeah,
it ain't saying man, great block there, man. Thank you for blocking my ass.
This team, you're right about that.
It's usually something a little bit more personal under the skin.
Right,
you know what I mean?
They don't let that affect them.
No,
their competitive edge is unreal.
It's really admirable,
and it comes from Clark and the staff. With a young staff, a lot of playing experience. So again,
coach doesn't put up with that. He doesn't play. He doesn't coach that way. Like he's extremely professional.
Oh yeah,
and the whole program is so.
Right.
Everything and everything that we do and every player that we have or person on staff, part of this program is a representative of the program as a whole. So but I think it was a great display of how Vandy runs their show.
But he knows that playing with an edge, like they do,
gritty.
Playing with an edge impacts winning, right?
Does.
Anything that impacts winning, this program is going to utilize, right?
This program's is all over anything that will help them get a better chance to win it every Saturday. And heck, they're
doing an okay job of it this year.
Right job, man. It's fun to see how they've used a lot of different resources over the past couple of years to get them to this point.
One of those, Jordan Matthews, the coach now. Who I don't think we talked. Did we talk about that last week at all? We might have thrown it out there.
I think you and I might have chatted about it a little bit.
But obviously,
podcast.
Good for him. Early in the game, Joe, Trades Green, who is a freak of nature, got loose for a long touchdown to give LSU the early 10-7 lead. Vandy sent the house on that play and lost track of him. But it happens.
It does happen.
MK Young had a day. Joe, he
makes things happen.
He did a great job spelling Cedric Alexander, who dealt with some cramps. I think it was like right before the half, and then through a little bit of the fourth quarter, came back and caught a shuffle pass. Didn't play as much as obviously you'd like Ceddy to play, but for MK Young to step up in Cedric's absence for a little bit was massive. You saw a few carries from Newberry, but MK Young, I thought, showed fully, I think maybe for the first time this year, what he can do. I know he had a long touchdown against, was it Charleston or Utah State? One of those. I think he's had some.
It might have been Georgia State.
Yeah, he's had some longer runs. I think you're right. But not against. We didn't see a ton of it against South Carolina. I think he might have had a run or two against them, and then obviously didn't do a whole lot against Alabama. This was kind of his breakout moment on a national stage. That's why they bring him here. So
he did a phenomenal job. He made plays when we needed a guy to make a play. The one that stands out in my mind, and it wasn't a scoring play either. It was at the end of the day, we got 7-8 yards out of it, but it was when the 4th and 2, I believe it was, and Diego makes a guy miss in the backfield, spins around and finds MK out there, and MK does enough to shake some people out of their shoes and get enough to the line and gain. And when he caught the ball,
play of the game.
Yeah, that was the play of the game. That showed like, hey, in my mind, I saw that play happening.
Very similar to the 4th and 1 against Bama.
Yeah, and I was like, well, it was just
everything changed.
It was the perfect way of saying, like, you guys are a great team, but we also have Diego Pavia and all his buddies on offense. So good luck.
Yeah. And Clark after the game said there's nobody else that could have made that play.
No. It reminds me of Johnny Manziel.
Yeah. He's just never out of it.
Never out of it. No, it was so fun to watch, them take over the game, and MK did a phenomenal job.
Yeah.
Of filling
Credit to him too, of kind of hanging around and not getting too far downfield or kind of forgetting about it and maybe assuming he's going to get sacked.
Well, people forget, he was part of the group in New Mexico State, and they're really close, and him and Eli and Diego and
Beck and Hudson and all those guys.
It's like they're on the same wavelength, man. On everything that they do, it's like they know where they're going to be.
I think MK down the stretch here is
he's going to be a really
he's going to be a big piece. Yep,
he is, and all those running backs are, Lassiter.
Because
Newberry.
what Cedric's going to give you pretty much game in, game out.
Yeah,
but if he goes down like he did yesterday, or you need to spell him when you get late in the season.
You got to win games with a running back committee.
Right.
You got to win season.
And they're different backs. I think MK's a little bit more of a fourth quarterback. That's nothing against Cedric Alexander, but MK,
every running back in that room to have a winning season.
Yeah, Newberry. Yeah. They had LSU's linebackers in shambles. I mean, and those
has
are
anybody
good.
Done a welfare check to the linebacker room?
Well, those are good linebackers. This is a good defense.
No,
this was a top
really
5 defense in the country. They were giving up 12 points per game.
Score on them.
No, and Vanderbilt again, 2 weeks to prepare. Feel bad for any defense that has to go up against a Beck offense with Pavia with extra time. Harold Perkins, looked like an average Joe a little bit out there. Yeah, I mean, like, and then
what's that supposed to
mean? West Weeks, Witt's brother who didn't play. LSU fans probably kicking themselves on that. It would have been a nice day to have Witt Weeks out there probably. But man, and then like Jack Pyburn, was lost a couple of times. They were just clinical.
Well, man, let's go back to the offense that Coach Beck has got going, Coach Kill. They are doing a phenomenal job of showing like every single type of offense you can think of.
Yep.
In just a quarter of a play in the game. So like, I remember looking at this game from my seat. I'm like, I've seen so many different styles of offenses being displayed by Vanderbilt's one offense.
Yeah.
And
it's incredible.
It is. I mean, you want to line them up and throw like a West Coast kind of style of offense. They'll do it for 3 plays and then they'll go to power I.
Yeah.
Or like, running like almost like a veer concept. I'm like, what?
They
have no idea what's coming at you from a defensive perspective. So you like, I would be interested to see like, pick Coach Lee's brain of like, hey,
how would you defend?
How would you defend against your own staff and Diego?
Well, Steve Gregory was joking in the media day. I think it was like a couple weeks before the season, maybe a week and a half. He was like, I'm so glad to not be defending this offense anymore and, focus more on Charleston Southern. That's legit. Like that. He's not, throwing stuff on the wall there like this. They can be, like you said, Mike Leach spread offense for a play. They can be Army Navy triple option for a play. They can be Stanford I formation with Andrew Luck, and
it's incredible, man. Yeah. It's really cool to see because most offenses, they have their identity, they have their way that they like to, play the game. But man, being so unconventional at times and having so many different packages at your disposal that you do really, really well. I mean, it's showing to be huge for this team down the stretch because no defense knows essentially what to prepare for. But they know they have to prepare for everything.
Yeah. You mentioned the tight ends, Stowers and Spence just had a huge day.
Yeah, somebody needs to go buy them lunch.
Yeah. I mean, thought it was Cole's probably best game in a Vanderbilt uniform. Yeah. Stowers.
Super proud of that kid.
I mean, Stowers had a heck of a game too. And we talked about him bouncing back. I was interested to see how Eli bounces back and Pavia and really the entire offense. Sherrill had an incredible catch right before the half when they were doing a 2-minute. There was like 30, 40 seconds left. Yeah. And they challenged an LSU DB, and Sherrill goes up there and grabs it. So
that's another thing too that we haven't touched on yet. The game management by Vandy was spot on.
Yep,
spot on.
Especially late, with Pavia going down.
Yeah, going down. That was perfect execution there. Run out the clock
because you score there. There's still a little over 2 minutes left. And you let LSU get the ball.
Crazier things do happen, right? But then also before the half, we were able to get in field goal range and knock down a field goal before we went to the half.
That was big.
And that's big. In a tight game like this, where I think the difference was always somewhere or like around 10 points and less, give or take a little bit, that's extremely important.
Yeah. Middle 8, they won it 10-3. I think they did. So Cedric Alexander's touchdown on 4th and goal to go up 14-10 was huge. Getting a touchdown there, I thought was huge. That drive,
those
Joe.
Few plays, man. If they don't go our way, we might be having a different conversation.
Yeah.
These guys, laid it down and made it happen.
That was a 14-play drive that took nearly 9 minutes. That was the best drive of the game.
That's true Vanderbilt football from an offensive perspective, man.
Yep.
Because again, I've been talking about a decent amount of like, hey, they can strike in a heartbeat, but they also will bleed that clock for as long as possible and finish with a touchdown. Yep.
That was 4th and goal, so that was their first 4th down conversion. But you go to the second attempt on a 4th down, Pavia gets sacked. And this was really interesting because, 4th and 1 from your own 37, I think it was. So that was a risk, but I wasn't surprised Vandy took it. I was just surprised at how quickly they were going. I don't know if you caught that, Joe, and I think it was they thought they would have had the defense off guard, and they did.
It's
they
really unconventional.
Thought they had a good look, but LSU recovered and Pavia didn't have a whole lot of space.
Yeah,
but
you're always trying to get them off schedule,
right?
So I don't hate the call. I actually like it, but
yeah,
especially on fourth down, when you see people go for it on fourth down, what do they usually do?
They fake or kind of drop back.
Like procedurally.
Oh,
it's usually half the time they're probably gonna call a timeout before they go on fourth down. Like, this ain't Vandy. This is that's not here. That's not how we do things here. It's hey, if it's fourth down and we're going for it, all right, plays in, go. Because hell, the defense understands that too. They're like, all right, the offense can be a little bit more cautious. They're gonna make sure they procedurally do everything right, so we've got more time.
Well,
that's what they're thinking on defense. And if you counteract that from our offense, like, I like the call.
No, nothing against the call. I think it's kind of the Josh Heupel like up tempo offense debate where it's to your benefit to go really quickly and work quickly, but it can also be the defense's benefit if your offensive linemen are tired or if you're not ready or if a guy's not lined up. So I thought that kind of happened a little bit. The rush kind of closed in on Pavia a little bit. Yeah. So that was 4th and 1. LSU has the ball at their 30 or at Vandy's 37. And he kind of felt like that was a chance for it to really turn. Defense bows up, and they step up. They get a field goal. Obviously, they that was with under a minute left, so force a field goal. And then Vandy gets the ball back. It's 14-13, so Vandy's still up, but only leads by 1. Like I said, LSU had a chance there, but Richie Hoskins had a really good catch there, middle of the field, where that's kind of his sweet spot, middle of the field on some of those seams in the zone. He sets up Brock for a 46-yarder, which would have been good from 56, I think. Yeah. He drilled that.
He got a good lick on it.
Yeah, so go into half 17-13, feeling good. And under Clark Lejo, Vandy's 18-12 when they lead at the half. So Clark probably felt good. The team felt good. I don't know if they know that. I mean, I'm sure some staffers are aware of that, but that's a pretty impressive stat as well. Joe, LSU gave up more than 10 points just once before yesterday, and Vandy's offense obviously, right out of that second half, another clinical drive, 10 plays, took nearly 6 minutes off.
People realize how good of a team LSU is or has the
but people don't want to talk about that after the game. They want to go, oh, LSU's not as good, but all week,
And I'm from Louisiana, so so just so you guys know, and everybody kind of, not everybody, but you might have a good understanding of this. Like, most states have like 1 or 2, really 2 or 3 big schools.
Yeah. LSU's the school.
Louisiana's got one, and that is LSU.
Yeah.
So LSU. They sure love their Tigers down there. And I mean, die hard. It doesn't matter if your highest level of education is 7th grade, and then you drop out or whatever, but you're an LSU fan down there. Like, they are passionate people. Their fans were actually really good. I was expecting really
good people. I've always liked LSU fans.
I was expecting a few shenanigans, and I didn't see any, which was nice. But they're going to be, there's going to be a ticked off fan base, and they don't really have a reason to be upset because LSU is a very good team. We just beat them at their own game, like from offense and defensive perspective, because I thought we were the better team going in, and we proved that. But things could get kind of ugly down in Baton Rouge if their players don't make the competitive decision to do things the right way and step back in the fire. Yeah. But I mean, heck, there's a lot of coaches on the hot seat right now. I wouldn't say Coach Kelly is, but golly, man,
it's ridiculous.
There's a lot of coaches out there now, like kind of wondering where they're going to be after this year.
Yeah.
They've had a great track record. And
we were talking about Norvell just a minute ago. Billy Napier was let go a few hours ago from Florida. Yep. So
interesting. I just found that out on the podcast.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I think people, there were some rumors going on yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
No matter what happens tonight against Mississippi State, which they won the game. So
they won the game and fired him.
Yeah, it's the Jimbo Fisher. Same thing happened with Jimbo.
That's wild.
Yeah,
let's just break that down a little bit. A really good Mississippi State.
Well, that's the thing. I'll say this too. I think they've bounced back in seasons like last year. They were coming for his head, and there's people that thought he was going to be fired last year. They bounced back and get to bowl eligibility. They were down bad.
They were down. They were dead in the water.
Yeah. So who's to say they couldn't have done it again this year? I think Florida fans and Florida brass was just tired of having to deal with that.
Let's backtrack a little bit. When Coach Mullen was there, he was in the SEC championship game the year before he got fired.
Yeah.
And then the next season they go 6-6 or 7-5 and they fire him. And what I heard was something about the locker room.
Yeah. Think about Shane Beamer right now. I mean, they've lost 3,
but it just
4,
shows you how
Virginia Tech's open.
These expectations are there. Some of them are unrealistic.
Yeah.
And some of them are just the time frame is so fast.
It's ridiculous.
So I mean, you're talking about a really successful program, but Florida's done this before. That's the reason why I brought up the Mullen situation.
Yeah,
it's like they don't do well with any sort of mediocrity over there.
Right. Well, after a 2-10 season, Clark Lee kind of, I think he fully knew the position he was in, and the administration did as well, and the staffers did as well. They made adjustments. Look what they did the next season. They go 7-6.
Boy, did they!
They worked with some urgency, and
happen,
so luckily that.
But you know what? That's also different. I want to say that's a little bit different because Coach Lee's a different guy.
Yeah. Well, and Vanderbilt's also a different place than some
very much so. But and one thing too that's very different now than it was not this way beforehand is you have administration and athletics working hand in hand now.
Yeah. First time in a long time.
First time in a long time that's really ironed out and working really, really smoothly. And in conjunction, it's a combined effort. And so it was a from the ground up effort with included everybody from year one to now.
Yeah.
So man, it is truly a group effort.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this place, man. When I was playing here, none of this was here. We had the horseshoe.
The old horseshoe.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
that thing was ugly.
Well, it was there,
Yeah.
it certainly was.
It was our horseshoe.
It was our horseshoe. But the stadium now, everything that you see is a testament to the belief in this program, and it starts with Coach Lee. So I would joke. I saw Candace Lee. I guess it was after the Alabama game last year, and I was just like, "Hey, I'm just going to address the elephant in the room here. Have you slapped an extension on Coach's desk yet?" And she's like, she laughs for a few minutes. She's like, "Believe me, that's priority number one."
Yeah, I mean, look. It's on the horizon. You would assume, and obviously you're right about the administration. Just the feeling around campus too, and
you have excitement at every angle, man. I've
Yeah.
never seen the
What's
student section like this.
Yeah, the
And
football
we're looking at it,
program.
like right here, essentially, you can see the visitor side where the student section is. How you can throw a tennis ball at them, if they were out there. But I've never seen that before. Our student section is filled to the brim every home game, no matter who we're playing. And LSU fans, boy, they travel. They're proud of their Tigers, man.
Oh yeah,
and we had more fans in the stadium than they did, so it was really cool to see.
Yeah, funny comment from Midge. He said the horseshoe looked good in 1963 when I think they added it. Yeah,
didn't it? It looked pretty good, huh?
Yeah. Damani says we have alignment. That's exactly right.
That could almost be a Coach Leeism.
Alignment, assignment, execution effort. I think that was my high school football coaches saying.
You do have alignment. That's a great way to put it, though.
Yeah, I mean it's perfectly aligned. The football program is the front porch and should be the front porch of every SEC school. At least I'm sure maybe some other Power 5 programs that maybe don't believe that, but
you know what schools actually have sports that just blows my mind. They offer Quidditch.
What's Quidditch?
Dude, like in Harry Potter. I literally saw it on ESPN
No way.
Like one time, like not even long ago. So like I don't know if that has something to do with like Title IX.
That's insane.
Total off topic.
Oh my gosh.
But like, yeah. But I was like, it's crazy what kind of sports some schools actually offer.
I never would have thought.
It was like, UC Santa Barbara or something versus somebody else. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What the heck am I watching here? It's like, it is what I think it is.
I'll say the atmosphere there in Harry Potter for Quidditch was pretty electric.
Obviously Quidditch is going to become a huge sport in the SEC. No, I'm just kidding. Football is your poster child for the university.
Yeah. Midge, you mentioned the crowd. It was funny. I didn't think about that. Like, I don't know. It's hard because purple and gold stand out, and orange stands out, and red with Alabama stands out.
Purple and gold's kind of ugly.
Well, yeah, I mean,
the orange is even worse.
Yeah, that orange. But Midge says the 24/7 board thought we had more fans there than they did too. Impossible to tell on TV, and they said it was very, very loud. I thought it was loud, and we've talked about this place traps the speakers were unbelievably
really
loud.
Good.
I
loved how whoever's operating our speakers, man, is killing it. Make sure that guy's healthily paid.
Yeah.
Because every time that LSU band struck up the drums and stuff, our speakers are blasting music, so you couldn't hear their band for anything.
That's the other thing. I think.
And they didn't play any sort of neck, so you didn't have 5-year-olds singing all the lyrics.
No
garbage.
Although Vanderbilt did play "Callin' Baton Rouge" at the end of the game.
I'll tell you what, that's still one of my favorite songs of all time.
I love that song.
I'm from Louisiana. I'm a Louisiana.
It's just a fun song,
and I love Garth Brooks. Actually, my alarm every morning is "Callin' Baton Rouge."
No, it's not.
It is. And you got the fiddle just blasting. Sometimes it's pretty abrupt. Joe getting out of bed. He's about to swing on somebody. I mean,
that's just a good mood.
One of my favorite songs.
Yeah,
it's probably my most played song on my iPhone.
No, I'm a big fan of that song too. I thought it was hilarious because and they played during the drone show. They played Enter Sandman and Metallica.
Yeah, they did.
So this is a pretty petty program, and I like it.
Even last year when we beat Alabama, they played the clip of Coach Saban. Saying how Vandy's the only easy place to play in the
But hey,
SEC.
Saban on game day.
Yeah,
I don't think Saban's a big Vandy fan.
I guess
I'm not even kidding about that because on game day he was the only one that picked LSU this yesterday morning, and McAfee goes, "Coach, have you ever picked Vandy?" And Saban,
I remember seeing that clip,
and Saban goes, it's just hard for me to picture Vandy doing what they're doing right now. It's hard to wrap my mind around it, and that's fair. But come on, Coach Saban.
I don't know about that one. Maybe if I catch him this weekend, I'll have to pick his brain on that. I was like, so what's going on here, man?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
But he's a football mind, man. He is breaking down every single game that he has to.
He's good.
To report.
He's really
on.
good.
I'm telling you, he is a creature of habit.
Yeah.
He is extremely meticulous, and I know every game that is going to be like a headliner game this weekend. So obviously, us and Mizzou and a handful of others. He's going to be breaking down the entire season for every team.
Yep. Yeah.
He's probably going to have his guy who makes it a cut up. He is still very much.
I would love to see his schedule right now. The amount of film he's watching and notes and things he's still locked in and busy.
When he flies from say they have game day up in Ann Arbor or something, I bet you he's probably sitting there with Miss Terry and he's got an iPad and his clicker. For all the film.
Yeah.
I mean that's how he did it.
He's wired different.
Yes. he's one of those guys that, and I wouldn't say, well, he's extremely dedicated to his process and
his process is unbelievable.
It is. He enjoys that stuff.
Yeah.
So I think you'd go a little crazy if you just put it all down.
Yeah,
I know he's playing a lot of golf, which good for him.
Yeah, he's probably a good golfer. A couple other comments here, and I don't want to abandon the comments, and then we'll wrap this up probably here shortly. But Anchor Down says any Saturday where Vandy wins and Tennessee loses, I sleep like a baby that night. Alabama got it done against the Vols, so. Alan Dorr, no more talk of LSU is more talented than we are. We pretty much matched them in every position, particularly with play acumen. That's a good point. I mean, look, talent-wise, you could probably argue LSU. They're probably gonna have more draft picks next year. But as a team, Vanderbilt right now is a better team 100%. Than LSU, and they're more disciplined. They at least yesterday. We'll see what LSU does the rest of the year. They're more connected. They are a better team right now. So we've got that.
LSU didn't take as many shots as I thought they would.
No,
Louisiana is a breeding ground for fast athletes.
Well, I was talking to my dad about that. He said I was just scared of that next big play, because they had the 62-yarder to Xavier Thomas, but that was a play where Nussmeier flipped it out and he was falling down and a couple of missed tackles.
Made something out of nothing, right?
Yeah.
But the designed shots down the field, they didn't have that many.
Yeah.
And typically what LSU would like to do in the past is exploit the defense and the DBs with athletes.
Vanderbilt was able to shut that down. I think LSU's offensive line is really struggling right now. I mean, it's not hard to see that, but just the fact they weren't able to find other ways to attack Vandy in the boundary because
they threw a lot of screens.
Yeah,
they threw a lot of screens. They tried to get our D line moving, our linebackers moving side to side because there's an old saying that when screens are not working, they are working.
Yeah,
because they're wearing the defense down.
Mm-hmm.
They're forcing them to make one-on-one tackles. They're forcing the linebackers to move all the way across the field. So I think that was part of their process. Is like they were going to wind us down and count on their running backs and their players to break free.
Yeah.
Whenever it did, it was basically like, Coach Lee talks about all the time. He would say, when you strike the stone, you might strike it 100 times before it breaks.
Yeah.
But every single stroke that you had before that
makes an impact.
Yeah. So
Damani says, kind of agrees with you. LSU had to screen us because they couldn't get push.
They couldn't.
Yeah.
But when you get the D line tired, that creates holes for the running back.
Right. I want to talk about a play, Joe, in particular, Pavia's scramble touchdown for a touchdown that gave Vandy a 31-21 lead. Don't forget Bryce Henderson's block on that play. LSU sent a corner blitz. I don't know if you caught this. They sent a corner blitz, and the pressure was coming. I thought Pavia was about to get nailed on his blind side. Here comes Bryce Henderson, and he's the tackle there, the quick tackle, if I'm not mistaken. So he comes over, makes a little nudge. It's not a monster pancake or anything, but makes just enough of a push on that corner, and boom, clears it out for Pavia, and just had tons of green grass. I don't know what else he was doing on that play to lose Pavia, but they were obviously sending a corner blitz to try to surprise him. Henderson knocks him off, and I thought that was huge. And he tosses it to the Army, the Army guys there. So,
those Army guys, man. A few weeks ago, they had a guy that was definitely half-assing his push-ups. So. I'm not going to call anybody out, but let's make sure we're getting that chest to the ground.
Yeah, let's see if he's watching today. Vandy, they put pressure on LSU to keep scoring points, especially in that second half, Joe. Obviously, we talked about the Jordan Matthews tracking him down. Let's see here. Barryon Brown had he started off well. He had a big drop there on 3rd and 8 late in the game, which I thought was huge. It's kind of low to the ground, and he wasn't able to make the catch. I talked about Tim Beck earlier, Joe. I thought Steve Gregory called a really good game as well. There was a play in particular because LSU struggles with their backup left tackle. They sent a tight end and a running back in support. Vandy doesn't blitz from that side. They send a blitz with Fontenette on the opposite edge and frustrates Nussmeier. That was that drop from Brown, and he got in Nussmeier's face a little bit. So there was a chess game that had to be played, and Gregory played it really well. If you watch some of those plays in the second half,
you've got a great defensive-minded group of staff. So like Coach Lee's a linebacker wizard,
and you see it with the players too.
And Steve Gregory, he's played the game a long time, and he's done a phenomenal job of being a coach in his career with that. And so the whole defense has some of the best minds in the game on one side of the ball. Under our staff's roof. So it's really awesome to see how things from a chess match perspective have been going for Vandy, because you've got so many different perspectives and who have played at a high level, coached at a high level, and are really students of the game. Because we were just talking about how Coach Saban's still watching film and stuff like that. It's because he was always like a student of the game, and the coaches here take the same mentality. We're going to find ways to win in the margins and do one simple better, but find different ways to win. And that Vandy found that. And what I'm going to be interested to see is there's enough on film from this past week on defense to really make some changes going forward. Like
you're talking about Vandy's defense.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that they can correct.
Yeah.
Right. If a few more of those breakout runs happen, I don't know if we're sitting here having the same conversation.
Yeah,
the margins were that slim, and maybe someone out there is saying I'm being a little, harsh there.
I think you're right.
I think the margins were so small, because if that touchdown on 4th down that we don't get, or we turn the ball over one more time once, and or our defense slips up, and Jordan Matthews isn't able to catch him, chase him down, and they get a touchdown. Those are just 2 or 3 plays right there that could potentially change the conversation we're having right now. So it's great that we got the win. but there's tons of opportunity and ways to improve. And I'm sure they were all there today watching film, getting better.
Yeah.
Because it's a quick turnaround. I don't know what time the kickoff is.
2:30.
It's 2:30 on Saturday. Flush this one, man. It's on.
You got to flush it quick.
Yeah. Short-term memory, learn from it, and move on, and put your best foot forward.
And again, you're going into it for the second time in 4 weeks. You're going to be featured on College Game Day.
Yeah.
And you've got another week of the extra interviews and the extra coverage. And this is even more extra because you are the featured team. They're coming to your town. And this is, again, another challenge for the team. And each week that increases, and it will increase, when they go to Austin, and when you play Auburn, and
that's the nature of the beast. It's a blessing and a curse, right? Because you're getting so many more eyes on you. But you worked hard to get to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Just, if I could say anything to those guys, just keep the main thing. And I think they will. They're a great group of young men, and they do things the right way. They deserve every bit of attention that they're getting. But I know Coach Lee, I know how he operates. It is going to be all ball.
Yeah.
All ball from here on out.
Absolutely.
Their mission is that close to being completed. In a few months' time from now, everything that Vanderbilt wanted to accomplish at the beginning of the season is right there.
Yeah.
Right there.
It's right there. 6-1, 2-1 overall right now. We'll probably wrap it up here in a second, Joe. One other thing I wanted to mention after the game, I don't know if you saw the interview on TV. Diego said to Katie George, the last couple of weeks were overwhelming for him, and that he recommitted his life to God with the help of Eli Stowers. And, I think it's easy for these players, like we talk about all the time, these college players, and the college game is turning a little bit into the NFL. And, we know how serious a lot of the NFL fans are, and the fantasy football and the betting, and it's kind of infiltrating in the college game too.
Yeah.
It can be easy to forget that these guys are 18 to 22-year-old kids. Pavia, in his case, 24, and there's some older guys in the
33.
Yeah, according to some SEC fans, he's in his 20th year. But I thought that was important to notice, because I noticed a calmer Diego on Saturday, kind of a more poised. Obviously, when you look back at a couple of weeks ago in Tuscaloosa, but that can be a scary thought when you've got a Diego that is that honed in on what he's doing. Didn't talk to the media after the game, which I don't have a problem with, and I know some people did, but that's whatever. But as a coach or as a fan of the team, you need him to go out there and execute and win games, and he's done that. But I thought that was an interesting post game interview.
No, I think that that brings up a really cool point to talk about. But that's who I've known ever since I met Diego. Was just a really down to earth guy, super competitive, but always one for the team, right? Who's always being around me when I was around him and am around him. He has a very really cool way of approaching people, and he's a great leader. He does so by just genuinely being himself. But I would say he does look calmer. He's but he's also such a mature player. He's played the game for so long, and
there's nothing he hasn't seen.
No, there's nothing he hasn't seen. He's done a phenomenal job, and he deserves all the attention. I don't have an issue with him not speaking to the media. He has to do that bunch every week. So I think that was probably his way of saying, hey, let's I think I'm gonna hang out with the family, whatever the rationale was, but that he's one of those guys that has so much on his plate now with the attention that he's getting, that he's going to do a phenomenal job for this team. And I wish him nothing but the best. He's one of the most talented guys I've ever been around. So I hope everybody kind of continues to rally around him, because he's been such a big impact for this team.
One other thing, Clark Lee after the game said it's not something that we've thought about when talking about bowl eligibility. We have higher goals than that, and Vanderbilt is in the college football playoff mix again after beating LSU yesterday, 31-24, improved to 6-1 on the season, 2-1 in the SEC. We got Missouri here next Saturday, 2:30 on ESPN. College game day will be on campus from 8 o'clock Central Time to 11 o'clock Central Time. You going to be there, Joe?
Oh, yeah. We got tickets already. So last week was the only one or yesterday was the only game where I was like, okay, I got to scramble and try and find some at the last minute. But I've got 2 for this weekend. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a really cool environment. I hope one of these days, when the game day does come back, that we can have a game day closer to the stadium rather than.
I'm with you on that. That's a good point.
Having it on the Wyatt lawn.
Yeah.
It's not even anywhere close to the stadium. So obviously that's kind of just a pipe dream down the road, but it's gonna. I'm gonna try and go by. Game day at least.
It's going to be a scene.
I think it would just be a really cool thing to see, to witness.
It's first time since 2008, obviously, and we'll see what happens. But to close it out today, Joe's theme of the week. And today, you got some AI, some chat GPT maybe? Or no?
Oh, gosh. Well, obviously, we all know AI is taking over. It's come into our lives in a really big way. Some better, some worse, right? So one of the biggest questions that I get on a pretty consistent basis of like, hey, AI is really revolutionizing the way that we do things, and there's got to be some way to invest in AI, and there is, right? But we also want to be very, very conscious of our way of doing so, right? So at Raymond James, we have the resources at our disposal to invest directly in AI, but also do it in a very diversified way, because this is a time period that I like to refer to or compare it to very similarly to the dot-com bubble in the early 2000s, because it's such revolutionary technology coming in and really being very disruptive to the markets. But there's also a ton of growth opportunity there. A lot of really high upside companies. So if you want to have a discussion about where AI fits in your portfolio and how to really diversify that exposure to AI, happy to have the conversation. There's a lot of stuff out there. So always happy to point you in the right direction.
There you go. I like it. The AI, obviously everybody's using that in just about every single job.
If you think about it, the dot-com bubble, the huge companies that you think of now, like Microsoft, Apple, those are the 2 that really come to mind from that time period. That's when they exploded. So you're going to have new names like those. Right now it's NVIDIA. Everybody knows about NVIDIA because they had their mini explosion. I still think there's a lot of room for them to grow, but you're going to have new companies that solidify themselves into that, that I guess you'd say Mag 7. It could grow to, Magnificent 10, whatever you want to call it. But those huge companies that have a huge market cap on the world stage, they're going to be, some new names are going to solidify themselves in the next few years. So there's a lot of opportunity out there. Happy to have those conversations with you. And I look forward to doing so.
RaymondJames.com/Bulovas Wealth Management is the website, or give Joe a call, 615-645-6742. Joe, we got to get out of here, but that was good stuff. Obviously, huge week for this program. But man, it's going to be fun to
be a blast.
To see what happens.
Seats now.
Buckle up for this week in Nashville and across the country. But for Joe Bulovas, I'm Billy Dare. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Star V Sundays.